You're listening to Drawing Success, Art, Education, and Entrepreneurship with Bette Fetter, founder and CEO of Young Rembrandts. In each episode, Bette explores the inspiring stories of franchise owners who've built successful businesses while making a difference through art education. And now, here's your host, Bette Fetter.
Good morning. This is Bette Fetter from Young Rembrandt Franchise and interviewing one of our franchisees, Adam Sonnhalter. So welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Bette. Glad to be here.
Now, you and your wife, Shannon, work a territory in the greater Cleveland area in Ohio.
Yeah, we have kind of the west side going around the south side of Cleveland. So we've got about 190 schools in our territory. It's a pretty good sized territory. It covers maybe about 45 minutes edge to edge. And so we're a couple years in now and very excited to continue to kind of learn our territory and have some more fun.
I love it. Yeah, you guys have been doing this 2 years, correct?
Correct.
And
yep.
So what did you do before Young Rembrandts?
Sure. So as you mentioned, it's both my wife and I. And so, my career, I started out in Wall Street. I had 10 years in Wall Street, helping people buy and sell companies and raise money for companies. And then I came back in 2003 and I had a partner. We've had a business coaching firm since 2003. So we've been coaching small businesses to help them grow and do all the kind of fun stuff that we do with small business owners. My wife had been in the hospital world. She was what was known as a child life specialist, which is, if you have any kids who've been to the hospital before, the child life specialists are the folks who are the very friendly folks that come in and help, deal with whether it be chronic issues or if you're having a surgery happen or having a sick kid, all this kind of fun stuff. So she was in the hospital world for a very long time, and she left that world in 2021 to kind of do something different. And as she was getting ready to try to think about some different things, she talked about how she enjoyed being home, as opposed to being at the hospital, for 100-hour weeks, and being around the dogs and the family. And said, "Hey, if we can do something where also I'm around like that, that could be kind of a cool thing." I'm like,
"Yeah."
Okay. So I kind of had that in my back of my mind, kind of thinking about that stuff. And we got an email in March of 2022 that said, "Hey, the territory is available," and that's what sparked our discussions with Young Rembrandts.
And now that territory was a warm territory, we call it, because that territory was a very busy, active territory before COVID. And that particular owner did decide to close during COVID, not for any negative reason other than COVID, But right. When you bought it, you had all the data, existing accounts, you had access to the teacher. We came with a lot of information, correct?
We did, yeah. And that was a big part of our factor in terms of looking to buy it. The fact that it was we call it a dormant, right? It was dormant for maybe 6 months. Right? So it had been mothballed a little bit. It was still there. So as we started to kind of test it and see what was going on, we were so happy to be able to see. After we got back from our training, so we had our week-long training, in mid-July of 2022, and we came back. I remember the date. It was August 8th. I sent 2 emails out August 8th, right? So the one email went to the prior schools. And so, as you mentioned, the prior franchisee had been in about 60 schools over the years, right? And so we had some contacts. We kind of did that list. And so we did a blast email to all the principals and secretaries. Say, "Hey, by the way, do you remember Young Rembrandts? We're back." And, introduced, me and Shannon and said, "Hey, we're back." And we had a list of about 50 or so teachers that have been teachers over the years, and did a similar email to them. And so those 2 emails got us about a dozen schools that had responded, said, "Hey, glad you guys are back. I'd love to have you kind of come in." And we had 4 teachers that were prior teachers that had kind of reached out and said, "Hey, I'm interested, in coming back." So it was a great way to get us jump started, because that first year, it was plenty for us to kind of, drinking from the fire hose. They have all the new things kind of come at us. It was plenty for us to be able to kind of deal with it and to be able to do it live in terms of, again, just get into the schools and make things start to happen. So it was great.
Says a lot for the reputation in the area that people wanted it back. And so I'm really happy about that. So how do you work it with you and Shannon in terms of who does what? Like, what's so for Young Rembrandts, for everybody else, it is an after school enrichment program, and franchisees hire part-time teachers and make contacts with schools to get places to teach the classes. And what's your day-to-day
Right.
like? What's it look like between you and Shannon?
Great. It's a great question, Betty. And just a little perspective for the audience so that just they understand a couple things. One is I grew up with parents who work together. Parents work together for 40 plus years, in a business. They've been married for 55 years, this year. So I thought it was normal for couples to work together and have a happy marriage and happy business, right? I'm sure you can relate to tremendously.
My
Betty,
husband and I went through that same
right.
phase. Yes.
And then as part of our coaching business, we've had probably 36 couples that we've coached that are also business partners, right? And so I was very aware going into this that it's very important for us to have our own kind of things, right? It's a couple things. One is we have separate offices in the home, right? Which I think is very important for us, so we aren't together physically all the time like that. And then trying to divide out the duties. And so I try to keep things very simple from a business standpoint. And we look at, there's 3 components. You have the product and service, which is obviously the drawing piece. We have the marketing and sales to be able to grow it. And then the administration is all the kind of stuff, the numbers and the planning, all that kind of fun stuff. So what was great about this, and this is, I think, important for your audience to understand too, when we told our friends and our family, as we were going down and having our discovery day and looking at buying Young Rembrandts, every one of our friends and relatives, Betty, to a person, had that furrowed brow looking at us. Well, no, it wasn't that. They said, "You guys don't know how to draw." I said, "You're right." I said, matter of fact, a more correct statement is I was never taught how to draw. I said, we've been taught. I said, that's part of what buying. I said, the franchise has that skill. It's a teachable skill. But just like math, a teachable skill. I said, look, you're born, doing math. Like you had to learn how to do it. Somebody had to teach you how to be able to do that. I said, so we got taught how to be able to do that. And so, a big part of my strength and where I come from is more from a numbers and planning standpoint, also from kind of a sales and marketing standpoint. And so, whereas Shannon spends more of her time with the teachers, the recruiting, taking care of the teachers, nurturing the teachers. So we've kind of divided, in terms of that piece of it. She's handling more of the teacher side of it. I handle more kind of the schools, the registrations, the marketing, all that kind of stuff, and handling all the finances and the numbers, which are things that, again, we're trying to play to our natural strengths.
And it's great because it really represents both sides of the business. You really do have to have good business practices. This isn't just like, art class is fun. This is a business, and right. People want to pay for that education, but yeah, you have to do both. And I think you guys have had some, I know I hear through the grapevine, your teachers love you. And so just for clarification too, we're not hiring full-time staff for really anything. We're hiring, explain who you're hiring, Adam.
Yeah, so it's a very part-time job, to your point. And so the folks we have they have multiple jobs, and the Young Rembrandts becomes one of them. And so it kind of fits in a nice little niche for them. Maybe they have things going on in the morning or maybe later in the evening. And so, hey, that kind of 2 to 5 p.m. window works pretty well for them. Or as well as folks who are, maybe more on the retired side, or maybe, trying to, just keep busy and keep active. And so, so as we try to find those folks and be able to kind of bring them in, we've gotten better at, being more discerning in terms of who we're bringing in as we get more experience. We were laughing after conference this year with the skit that you all did in terms of the different versions of the teachers that we see, because obviously it was to the extreme, but it made the point very, very well in terms of, what's going on. So yeah, and we're very purposeful about bringing folks in and really helping to take care, kind of build the camaraderie, not only with our monthly teacher meetings, but also a couple times a year, we'll do different things. We'll do different activities. And so, this past summer, we did a splatter paint thing where we got together a couple hours. We all got to do our own kind of splatter paint, and did a fine one. We've done, things where we've gone and made some different, clay work. We've done a little spa day, so we try to.
I'm going to work for you guys. Yeah, this is good. So you're really recognizing this is a very part-time job for your staff. So to make someone want to put in their full effort on such a minimal part-time job, you're really nurturing them and bringing them into like the value and the purpose of it.
We are. And part of it too, Betty, a lot of the folks, this is their fun job, right? Where it's like they almost can't believe that they're getting paid to do this, right? Because a lot of them enjoy the art, enjoy the teaching, enjoy being with the kids. So hey, the fact that I'm getting paid is a nice bonus, because a lot of them almost volunteer to do this stuff, right? So so from that standpoint too, it's one of those, it's a fun job from that standpoint.
Yeah. So now you have been doing this for 2 years, and you started with 4 teachers and 12 schools. Where are you guys at now?
So right now we're approaching 35 schools for this fall. We're at 14 teachers. We've also taken one of our teachers who's been it was one of the former teachers from the prior owner as well.
Mm-hmm.
She came on board. She's been a great teacher for us. She's fantastic, but she's also been helping us more on the administrative stuff as well. So she's been helping Shannon with a lot of the recruiting stuff, with a lot of our social media stuff, in terms of, getting those things done. And so we brought her on part-time, to help cover some of those things as well, in addition to be able to teaching classes, but have her help, from that standpoint as well. So
it's a very part-time position, right?
Right. And it's what's nice about it too is, it works for everybody. So, part of, like, even come back to for Shannon and I, we work different schedules at the time, right? So I'm more of an early morning guy, kind of getting stuff done, where she might be kind of more later in the afternoon or the evening, standpoint. So one of the great things about this is, other than that kind of 2 to 5 window when things are kind of happening, in the schools, the other 21 hours in the day, you've got time to kind of figure out, what works for you.
Move it around.
And so, yeah, and so that works well for us. It works well for our other teachers or for folks who help us. Hey, I just need this done by Friday, so you can do it whenever between now and Friday. I don't care if you do it 2 in the morning, but whatever works for you. And so that's been a big, I think a big positive for all this. Have the flexibility. Say, get done by a certain date, but you figure out, what works.
You got some choices on how you're going to do it. Now, what about? Tell me about your family and family lifestyle now.
Yeah, well, so we're at the point now where our kids are getting older. So our youngest just turned 18 and she graduated high school. She's off to community college this fall. Our oldest is 21, and so we kind of joked like this is our new baby, right? When we bought this became part of the folks are part of the family, right? And so it was interesting. Maybe 6 months in, Shannon working in her office, and it was, I don't know, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and she goes, "Oh, I'm working a lot, but it's not like work." And I said, "Okay." Good. I said, "You're starting to kind of, it's stuff that I'm really kind of enjoying, and it's been fun from that standpoint." So it really melds in well, right? And so, we, if what's beautiful too is if you take a vacation or travel, this thing travels with you. So you always kind of tap in to kind of see what's kind of going on. So you're always kind of connected from that standpoint. So I think it's one of the beauties of having a home-based business is you're able to kind of move it around and make it work for you from that standpoint.
When just for anybody who's shopping for a franchise, you are really looking for who do you want to be in relationship with for the next 10 years or the length of a contract. And a franchise company is responsible to pretty much give you the business in a box. You bought a franchise, you're buying, just give me the pieces that I can add my skill to, and I can make the business. So how did we do at Young Rembrandts? Like, to make the business travel, what kind of tools do you have, and do they work for you?
Yeah, no, it has been fantastic. What was good is, we came in at a time, again, a couple of years after COVID had hit, and also YR was going through some changes in terms of new technology and things like that. So we came in at a perfect time. So we didn't have to unlearn.
You have to learn the old stuff.
Yeah, right. So we've heard stories about the old stuff, and we even see some of the old stuff in terms of training, talking about like a lot of the paper stuff, and so it used to be a lot more difficult. It sounds like in terms of manually, whereas now it's fantastic. The technology works very, very well. Part of the beauty of this too, in your point, Betty, as we were doing our diligence, part of what we wanted to figure out is the team. And I remember on one of our calls, we talked about, if somebody goes and looks at the franchise, you get the FDD, the 230-page document, and all kinds of fun stuff that's in there and stuff. And being a numbers guy, I was taking a look at the numbers. I saw things kind of went during COVID and that, and we were talking about it. I said, "Hey, it looks like you guys kind of cut half the staff." And she's like, "No, the staff is all still here. They just, adjusted their hours." I said, "That speaks a lot about the team." And so a big part of our discovery day and figuring things out, I said, "Hey, who are we becoming partners with, and how do these folks, take care of themselves?" And it's been a fantastic partnership for the last couple of years. Not only that you provide so much, and it's always great to see to see the videos and see the 6 years of stuff that we have. I mean, it's just amazing, everything that's there. I joke, it's great for our teachers. I said, "Look," I said, "I can learn this stuff. I don't know how to draw 3 years ago either." I said, "I know how to draw now. I know how to draw. I know how to teach how to draw." I said, "This is a very, very teachable skill." I said, "This thing is just absolutely fantastic, right?" So you guys do a fantastic job of not only having that stuff there, the support there is great as well. Either, whether going corporate or going to our coach, if we have a question, we're never alone. And that's a big thing with being in business. If you're on your own and you're not a franchise, you're kind of doing it yourself. But I think your point, Bette, we have a chance to come in and be able to build upon what you guys have built and take and add our own experience and skills to be able to kind of tweak that and be able to add to it, right? But it's been, it has been a fantastic first couple of years. We could not be happier.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad. And we, to have you and Shannon so dedicated to the teaching in the classroom, and you have all this business experience, and, it's a great fit. And let me go back curriculum wise. What you're talking about is, so the franchise company, we have developed all the curriculum and we make that curriculum available to franchisees. So then you're taking that curriculum and pass it on to your teachers and training them. And the general sense about the curriculum is?
It's fantastic. It follows the same pattern, which is great. So once you see a couple of them, you start to know what to expect. And so, much like the kids know what to expect when they come in, know, hey, we're gonna have the stouts here. We're gonna kind of teach you step by step through the way. It's always amazing what happens. It's interesting too, is we'll have some of our teacher meetings as we sort of go through the different lessons, and there'll be some strong opinions about, well, I think this is too difficult, or this is or different. Okay, and we'll have some discussions about, well, hey, maybe I teach it that way, or okay, so we'll have some discussions about it. But always kind of come back, hey, let's just follow what they've got.
Trust it.
They've got 35 plus years of doing this stuff. I go, they put it together. I go, let's just go with their way, and then we'll see. Let's see how it goes. But we've had some good kind of discussions about those things over the last years with our teachers, just talking.
Which is a great sign that they're paying attention that well. And it is, we really worked on, there's a way to teach children how to draw, and we've kind of packaged it, but trust franchisees to train the teachers on how to deliver the most effective class.
Right.
Tell me about, just in general, what are some other things you do in your community? Like, I know that being a small business coach and just a business coach in general, I'm sure you're super connected and have been. So
sure. Yeah. So, I've been part of Rotary for almost 20 years now. I kind of joined Rotary to get in the community. And also what's great about Rotary is it's got folks from all walks of life. So, folks that could be in business, could be folks in schools, folks in the politics, folks who are retired, but, just folks from all different kind of walks of life. And so I've been very involved with Rotary over the years. Also very involved with our church and the school where our kids used to go to. As I look back on the experience I had, one of the things that happened was, when our kids were going to schools, I was the PTU president for 4 years. And so I was used to dealing with the happy and angry parents, or, dealing with administration, understanding what it's like to be a principal. And, being a principal is kind of like being a business owner. Everybody, is after them and, has questions, or, it's hard to kind of walk through the building without people poking at you all the time, or kind of tugging at your sleeve. So we have some good perspective from there. So I teach 7th grade PSR, which is one of the hardest things I do every week. Teaching a kindergartner how to draw is much easier than teaching a 7th grader on a Monday night about getting their attention about Jesus, right? So it's a little different. So we've been involved with the schools, with church and stuff as well, and meeting people. But what's happened is we haven't even necessarily tapped many of those resources yet. Again, only been a couple of years into the stuff, as we continue to kind of go out. We're finding, again, getting into the schools seems to be the easy part. It's kind of finding those kind of good teachers. So as we start to kind of go through our network out, we'll start to kind of dig more into where are those teachers kind of hanging out. What folks can we kind of maybe sort of kind of tap into more. But we haven't done a lot in terms of really kind of tapping into that network quite yet. But we will certainly start doing more of that as the months and years go by.
Now, you reminded me, overall, this whole idea that you're not alone. Tell me about other franchisees in the system. Like, personally, I love the franchisees in our system. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest surprises when we franchised is, I started the business just because I like teaching, and I was really developing that methodology and a business model. And my husband and I ran the territories for about 13 years before we franchised. And when we franchised, we have just met the most wonderful people from just such diverse backgrounds, but there's just this common thing that binds us. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, it was when we first came in, we had just missed the annual meeting, right? Because we didn't get trained till after that, so we had to wait almost a full year to finally get a chance to kind of sit down
to the conference, to the annual conference.
Yeah, right, yeah. And so coming last year to the conference the first time was great because all of a sudden we had 50 other franchisees in the room, and what's great about it is you can just talk about whatever's going on, and they're right with you, right? So. And what was fun about that too is, because it's only a couple of days goes very, very quickly, but you'll get some different kind of nuggets. And so there was one of the breakout sessions we had that first year, there was something I'd written down that one of the other franchisees was doing. And I kind of put a little note down. I was like, well, we don't need this yet, but we'll probably need this, at some point. It was about 8 months later. And I'm like, who did this? So I just blast out to everybody. I said, hey, Brett, last year's conference, somebody mentioned this technology. Who was it? And all of a sudden within 2 minutes, Amber, respond, hey, yeah, that was me. I said, okay, great. So it's, they're there, and she's been tremendously helpful with us as a new technology we've been using from a scheduling standpoint and some other things. And so she's been great over these last 6 months, helping us to be available. That's going to get call for half hour, kind of talk through stuff. So all the franchisees are very happy to share, because the part of it, I think it is because they learn through the sharing part, or helps reinforce, or it's constantly kind of tweak or just buy stuff. So it's been great to be able to tap into it, and folks are very, very available. Even though we're all very busy doing stuff, we'll make ourselves available because we know it's an important part of that camaraderie and being part of the YR team and helping each other and share that knowledge across.
We definitely have a community of really teachers, because we're so ready to share and kind of even teach each other. And we're a very mission-based organization, and you just can feel that in the people. I know we're all here, business is business, and we did this to all earn a good living. And at the same time, we can earn a good living while doing something really impactful for children. And so, kind of as a closing thought, tell me how that resonates with you and Shannon.
It does. Like you said, it's, I think I said at conference, I don't feel like I'm doing sales here. It's just, hey, people, it's an easy thing to sell. People like it. It's a great thing in today's tech, with today's technology world, to say, hey, we have something where the kids are going to use their hands and pencils and, tactile stuff. It's a whole different kind of experience. And also it's been good to kind of get the kids back engaging again, because it's been a little strange after COVID, just not knowing kind of what to do or how to interact. And so we're curious to see, this might be kind of the first year where it's kind of more normal. We have the kids are kind of coming in, and they aren't necessarily COVID kids, right? So you get back, just kind of, hey, here's how we interact, and kind of just do things again. So it's been great, and very, very a lot of smiles are getting delivered, and people are having a lot of fun. Not only our teachers, but all, especially the kids and the families. And just coming off we're in back to school season right now, as we're heading back into to September. So we had some open houses in August, and it's always a great time of the year to get our teachers out there to hear it. And we always have parents, grandparents coming by, just singing their praises. Oh, we love the class. And it was great having, hey, this is all for you. That's put all that fairy dust on you. Again, this is all very positive. We want you to hear it, because again, the impact that you're having on these kids is absolutely fantastic. So it's always great to hear that, and we like to share it with our teachers. Hey, this is you doing it. This is fantastic. So keep in mind what you are doing, and if you're having a bad day, it's only a bad day. We're doing a lot of very, very good stuff from that standpoint.
No, I love hearing stories about how kids say the Young Rembrandts Day is their favorite day of the week. And
it's the only day. It's the only day my kid will get out of bed.
The star.
Yeah, we had a parent tell us last year. Said the only day that my kid gets out of bed is Wednesday, because that's wire day at school. Every other day it's a fight to get him out of bed, but Wednesday, it's I get to draw today. So you're absolutely right, Betty. It's a key thing for many of these kids. Absolutely.
Well, Adam, thank you so much. We are so honored to have you and Shannon representing Young Rembrandts in Ohio. And any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah. So for folks who are looking at franchises, again, we didn't talk a ton, but I'm very aware of franchises over the years, and I've coached quite a few folks who've had franchises, and unfortunately, most franchisors are nowhere near as supportive or as good as what we've found to be with Rembrandts. And so as you're doing diligence, make sure you talk to everybody, ask all the questions you've got. To me, this has been a fantastic business. Ever since day one, it's been awesome. So I can't say enough positive things about it, Bette.
Well, we appreciate you very much. So say hello to Shannon and enjoy your big fall kickoff now. So thank you very much, Adam.
Thanks, Bette.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Drawing Success. If you're inspired by today's episode and want to learn more about owning your own Young Rembrandts franchise, visit us at www.yrfranchise.com. And until next time, keep drawing success.